Welcome to this episode of Explorer. Now, the names of Jacques Cousteau and Calypso are tied together inseparably and have become household names in the memories of people all over the world. Jacques Cousteau, the lifelong explorer of underwater life, who conquered the hearts and imagination of so many people with his documentary series The Silent World and many, many others. Calypso, his oceanographic research vessel that took him and his crew over the seven seas during 4 decades of undersea exploration. Now, Commander Cousteau died in 1997. He was 87 years old. But whatever happened to his legendary ship, his beloved Calypso? We will give you the moving story of the Calypso, the vessel Commander Cousteau was so proud of. The Calypso has a stirring history, a history many people don't even know about. So join us on Calypso's journey beyond the horizon.
Originally, Calypso was built during the Second World War as a minesweeper for the British Navy at the Ballard Marine Railway Yard near Seattle. Launched on the 21st of March 1942, she was christened with the pennant letter J826 by a 12-year-old girl named Isabel Prentice. The 66-foot vessel was handed over to wartime Britain through the Lend-Lease program of President Roosevelt. After an eventful trip, she was stationed at Gibraltar for minesweeping duties in the Mediterranean and later took part in the landing on the beaches of Sicily in July 1943. After the war, she was returned to the US Navy and moved to Malta, an island south of Sicily. In 1949, she was decommissioned and sold to the Gazan Group in Malta to be used as a ferry between Malta and the tiny island of Gozo. Her new owner renamed her as the Calypso. Calypso, by the way, was the name of the nymph in Homer's Odyssey, who held the hero Ulysses captive as a prisoner of her charms on an island now known as Gozo. Commander Cousteau, who by now had begun to devote his life to underwater exploration, found in Malta his ideal ship, the Calypso. In 1950, this vessel was bought for him by Sir Thomas Lowell Guinness, a wealthy Englishman. Lowell Guinness remained the legal owner of the vessel. Commander Cousteau could use the ship as long as forever, but his conditions were: Calypso should be properly maintained by Cousteau, his name would never be mentioned, and Cousteau could never ask him for monetary help ever after. And so Calypso began a long career as the first ship especially designed for marine science and underwater cinematography. Before taking Calypso into service, Commander Cousteau adapted and converted the vessel for her future task. On a shipyard in Antibes at the French Riviera, Calypso was equipped with a steel underwater observation chamber, accessible through a porthole from atop of the bow. Another observation platform was constructed and towered high above the wheelhouse. From this platform, members of the crew had a 360-degree peripheral view and could guide Calypso safely on her journeys through coral reefs and other obstacles. This platform also proved to be a unique place to observe from a far distance submerging mammals as whales and dolphins. Rugged Zodiacs, propelled by reliable Johnson outboard engines, this for close action filming and marine and diving purposes were added. A Mark III Zodiac could easily take several divers and a variety of equipment on board. It would be hard to imagine an expedition without Zodiacs. Later, Cousteau especially designed a diving saucer. They called her Denise. These bright yellow saucers were built to the highest standards. They had a unique water jet propulsion system and a second generation could reach depths of 600 meters. Through the years, these diving saucers proved to be very versatile and extremely safe to operate. As the pilot of the diving saucers, Albert Falco made no less than 900 dives in this fantastic machine. He told me, "There's nothing like taking a saucer into the deep. It always was a unique experience." Later, a huge 500, a two-seater helicopter called Felix was added to Calypso's standard equipment. This helicopter proved to be another unique filming and exploration platform and served the Cousteau team to the very end. The helicopter launch pad was first situated at the bow, but was later, for practical reasons, permanently moved to the stern. A ship like Calypso was expensive to operate. Therefore, Commander Cousteau always took steps to raise funds from the government or through financial backing from oil companies and some other sponsors. He soon realized, however, that the best way to keep the Calypso financially afloat and make ends meet was to convert her into a media attraction. She would play a starring role in the enormously popular film and television documentaries about his beloved world beneath the waves. Philippe Cousteau, his youngest son, began working closely with his father in 1965. He then made a documentary about Conshelf 3 expedition, their third underwater experiment in saturation diving. 6 men, among whom the former astronaut Scott Carpenter spent 3 weeks at the depth of 325 feet off the coast of southern France, breathing an oxygen-helium mixture. They tried to demonstrate that humans could live and work deep down on the sea floor. This footage of Conshelf 3 was broadcasted as a National Geographic television special, narrated by no one less than Orson Welles. In 1975, Philippe Cousteau acquires the PBY seaplane, soon to be known as the Flying Calypso. This rugged and versatile flying boat became a major star in the Cousteau series. In '79, in a catastrophic accident, Flying Calypso crashed during a water landing on the Tagus River near Lisbon in Portugal. Sadly, Philippe Cousteau was killed instantly, leaving behind his wife Jan, his 3-year-old daughter Alexandra and his unborn son. In 1983, after almost 3 decades of faithful service, Calypso was given a major overhaul on a specialized shipyard in St. Augustine, Florida in the USA. She sorted as new. Among repairs and adaptations, 2 new engines were installed, and all of the planks under the waterline were removed and replaced. Most of the time, Commander Cousteau and Albert Falco personally surveyed the progress on this daunting job. January 1996. Back since September 94 from an expedition in Vietnam and Cambodia, Calypso was being refitted at the Quang Son Engineering Shipyard in the port of Singapore for a new mission to the Yellow River in China. There, during the night of January 8, 1996, she was inadvertently struck below the waterline in a barge maneuvering accident. With a gash in her side, Calypso was flooded and settled on her side in 16 feet of water, lying at an angle of 70 degrees. Was this the end of the Calypso after 46 years of faithful service?
We're about 29 kilometers from Marseille, where we're about to meet Albert Falco tomorrow morning. Albert Falco was, for over 3 decades, a very close collaborator with Jacques Cousteau. He was chief diver, team leader, and he was captain of the famous ship the Calypso. He was also the pilot of the Soucoupe, that's the diving saucer. I'm sure we're going to learn a lot about Calypso tomorrow and about that legendary figure, historical diver, Mr. Albert Falco. I'm climbing the steep steps of the old fort. So behind me you can see the old harbor of Marseille. And in front of me, it's a beautiful sunset, just peeping behind the walls of the fort. Oh boy, that's beautiful.
Albert Falco, born in Marseille on the 17th of October 1927. He began his adventure with Cousteau in '52, first as a sailor, later as a diver, a head diver, and ultimately as the captain of the Calypso. He stayed with Commander Cousteau for 37 years, participating in all his expeditions. Commander Cousteau said of him, "Falco has lent me his eyes." When he retired, Albert Falco carried on diving and filming along the coast of Marseille in France. He still continues to speak out to preserve the oceans and underwater life for future generations. At the time of the accident, Commander Cousteau was thinking of retiring the Calypso, and he began developing plans for a new vessel, the Calypso II. But let Albert Falco tell us in his own words what happened that dreadful day in Singapore.
Oui, ça a été un terrible drame pour toute l'équipe du commandant Cousteau, et lui-même a été le premier à être au courant, en tant que patron bien sûr. Et tout de suite, son réflexe a été de m'appeler et de me dire écoutez Albert, il faut absolument que vous alliez là-bas pour me faire le rapport de ce problème, mais surtout de savoir si on peut renflouer la Calypso. Alors immédiatement, j'ai fait mon sac, je suis parti le soir même, je crois, et dans l'avion, je n'ai pas dormi. Vous savez, c'est un peu comme quand il arrive un accident, un membre de la famille ou un proche ami.
Exactement.
C'est exactement pour moi, c'était la même chose.
C'était une membre de la famille.
Et dans ma tête, j'avais
voilà,
qu'une idée, c'est d'arriver et de faire quelque chose pour la Calypso.
Oui.
Peut-être la sauver, la renflouer, je ne sais pas. Bon, finalement, quand je l'ai vu étendu dans l'eau noire du port, j'ai dit bon, ça va, j'ai compris, il n'y a plus rien à faire. Par contre, j'ai pris une petite caméra, j'ai plongé avec le chef plongeur qui était là-bas à l'époque, Bertrand Sion. Nous sommes allés tous les deux voir premièrement le trou dans la coque,
Oui.
qui a été fait par une barge qui était à moitié coulée, la moitié hors de l'eau et la moitié au fond de l'eau, dans 5-6 mètres d'eau.
Oui.
Et donc, à l'arrière, il y avait 2 rouleaux d'acier. Vous savez, des rouleaux d'acier où on passe les câbles pour les manœuvres, tout ça.
Exactement.
Il y avait ces 2 rouleaux d'acier. Et quand le Calypso est descendu à la marée basse, c'était une grande marée, bien sûr, elle est venue percuter ces 2 rouleaux d'acier dans sa coque,
Oui.
à la hauteur de la machine. Donc là, l'eau a commencé à rentrer, à flot à l'intérieur. Il y avait un électricien qui était à bord, mais je ne suis pas trop rendu compte sur le moment, parce que ça s'est passé très, très lentement, quoi, tout ça. Il n'y a pas eu tellement de bruit, surtout que c'était sous l'eau.
Oui.
Et puis l'eau est rentrée à flot et le bateau a commencé à se coucher. L'électricien est arrivé, il a vu ça, il a alerté bien sûr la sécurité tout autour, mais trop tard, Calypso s'était couché, les rouleaux d'acier ont arraché deux bordées et l'eau est rentrée à flot et ça a été terminé, on ne pouvait plus rien faire.
Et puis
alors,
le Calypso s'est posé sur la barge, en
elle
dessous
s'est
de l'eau.
posée sur la barge,
Oui.
carrément. Vous voyez,
Ouais,
la marée basse,
Oui.
voilà. Elle avait été plus ou moins déplacée par quelqu'un qui ne connaissait pas.
Oui.
Et puis cette barge était là et ça a été le drame.
Oui.
Calypso s'est couché dans l'eau et bon, alors je suis allé là-bas, j'ai plongé, j'ai filmé le trou fait par ces 2 rouleaux d'acier, je fais un peu tout le tour du bateau et immédiatement à ma sortie, le commandant Cousteau était au téléphone. Maintenant, grâce au téléphone portable bien sûr,
Oui.
j'ai pu avoir le commandant au bout du fil et je lui ai raconté le problème. Alors il m'a posé cette question, est-ce qu'on peut le renflouer? Je lui ai dit bien sûr, en mettant les moyens, on peut le renflouer. Alors il a commandé une grue immense de 1500 tonnes qui est arrivée avec des plongeurs pendant 8 jours. Ils ont travaillé, ils ont passé sous la coque dans la vase et ils ont réussi à mettre 8 haussières Ensuite, ils ont redressé le bateau, ils l'ont monté lentement, ils l'ont vidé, et il a été à flot. Ils ont bouché sommairement le trou avec du contreplaqué et puis bon, quelques moyens pour que l'eau ne rentre pas trop.
Oui.
Et là, quelques temps après, Cousteau l'a fait venir à Marseille, là, juste là, elle était là derrière nous, près des bassins de Radoux. Elle est restée 2 ans, mais encore un grand malheur nous est arrivé. Cousteau a disparu 1 an après l'accident. Donc tout était perturbé. On a donc attendu que cette Calypso soit réparée, mais ça ne s'est pas fait à Marseille. Et la directrice de l'équipe Cousteau l'a envoyé en accord avec le maire de La Rochelle, M. Crépeau, l'a envoyé là-bas à La Rochelle. Là, le trou a été réparé, elle a été mise au milieu d'un certain nombre de bateaux, de vieux bateaux, puisque c'est un musée maritime.
Exactement.
Mais on devait la réparer. Et puis les années ont passé, et puis bon, vous l'avez vu dans quel état elle est.
Oui.
Bon, nous sommes tous malheureux de ça, parce que cette Calypso, c'est un mythe, elle ne doit pas mourir.
Oui.
Et alors, notre espoir, c'est que Alexandra Cousteau, il y a eu un article là sur Match dernièrement, la petite fille de Cousteau, la fille de Philippe Cousteau, celui qui s'est tué à l'Hydravion, est venue et elle a envie de faire revivre le bateau de son grand-père. Alors nous sommes tous d'accord derrière elle et je suis sûr que le monde entier l'aidera à réaliser ce projet.
The 7th of June 1998, Calypso, no longer capable of self-propulsion, was then transported to the harbour of La Rochelle. She was laid to rest near the slipway of the Maritime Museum of La Rochelle, where she lies alongside France 1, the last French meteorological frigate. Across the dock lays Alcyon, another famous design of Commander Cousteau. Alcyon is partially propelled by turbo sails. This vessel was mostly used by Cousteau's oldest son, Jean-Michel, whom after Philippe's tragic accident became more and more physically involved in the versatility of expeditions. According to the wishes of Francine, the widow of Commander Cousteau, the Calypso has become an integral part of the Maritime Museum of La Rochelle, to offer future generations the testimony of the ecological message of Commander Cousteau. At least, so it was said. Follow me now as I take a closer look at the present state of the Calypso, and let the music guide us beyond the horizon of the ship adored by millions. Calypso, the most famous ship on our planet. Calypso's wooden hull is crying tears of rusty blood. She lays here abandoned, disintegrating. Still, while there is no wind, no motion on the water, Calypso as a chained animal pulls restless on her moorings. She tells me she doesn't belong here. She wants to sail away to a faraway horizon. She wants to be rejoined with her crew, but only vague, fading memories remain. Though she still remembers vividly Commander Cousteau, Simon Cousteau, Albert Falco, Philippe Cousteau, Michel Deloire, Jean-Michel Cousteau, André Laban, Raymond Cole, Frederick Dumas. Calypso remembers them all. She thinks about them every single minute of every day, and day after day she waits faithful for their return. But right now there's no mercy for Calypso. Her father, Jacques Cousteau, died. Her loyal crew is gone, and there are no more familiar faces wandering around her deck. The heartbeat of her engines stopped. Her body is slowly rotting away. She's no more than a former shadow of herself, abandoned after all the precious moment she shared so generously with people all over the world. Firmly anchored on the deck of the Calypso, the hydraulic hoist called Jumbo hauls up and down the diving saucer, relics from the seafloor and other heavy equipment destined for Cousteau's underwater exploration and experiments. Now it stands lost. gathering rust in an abandoned scrapyard corner of the slipway, surrounded by debris. It stares at me as a broken skeleton from a prehistoric dinosaur. This once mighty hydraulic machine now stands helpless. No more diving saucers to hoist. No more faraway horizons. It stands here lonely, brutally ripped off of the deck of its beloved Calypso, which it served so long and so well. The observation platform, who gave Calypso such a particular look. I wonder how many crew members spent how many hours observing the oceans from up above. Now only twisted steel and broken antennas remain. It looks as a bird with a broken wing. The once magnificent wheelhouse, the nerve center of Calypso, always equipped with the latest, most sophisticated electronics. A porthole twisted out of its frame stares back at me. Someone without a name painted a laughing face on a window. It looks like a very, very bad joke. The helicopter platform, all that remains is a torched down steel beam, a vague remembrance of the little yellow bird, Felix. The footboard now hangs useless on its strings. No one will walk upon it again. I picture myself when they painted the proud nymph Calypso's trademark on the chimney. I look at it, and all I see is a sad mythical figure begging for help. Due to its sorry state, Calypso cannot be visited. I now enter Calypso, Commander Cousteau's personal cabin. This is the place where he sat around his table with personalities as Fidel Castro, Ted Turner, Professor Edgerton, John Denver, and many others. Now all that remains is a dreary, dark, empty space. The crew's quarters, once a safe, comfortable haven when they returned time after time from a cold and wet mission somewhere at the four corners of the earth. Now all there's left is a pile of rubble. Keep this area clean, as by miracle a toilet looks brand new, as it has been installed today. It's clean, it shines, the door still opens and closes perfectly. Next, the area where the crew used to wash and shave. The sinks look as they were used yesterday. Sadly, it's the only place inside Calypso that reflects her former glory. For 20 years, this was Albert Falco's personal cabin. This was Falco's cozy retreat when he returned mission after mission. Now, scattered cabinets, deteriorating lining hangs from the ceiling. No more laughing faces. The good times are all gone. Wandering with my infrared camera deep down through the dark insides of Calypso, I could clearly hear the sounds and voices of 4 decades of adventure and explorations. I feel Calypso is crying, begging not to let her deteriorate into oblivion. I can feel this is not an ordinary ship. Calypso is still alive. Calypso is a ship with a soul. I can feel it. She's all around me. I lean against the safety of her wooden hull. She shivers. She's talking to me. I clearly hear her voice. Please don't let me die. I still have so much to offer. I'm feeling sad. All I can do is to make the world aware of the shocking reality of Calypso's fate. Show them my footage. Let them feel what I feel. Something must be done to preserve this wonderful monument of vanishing dreams, and it must be done soon. The electrical switchboard that used to distribute the necessary power through the veins of Calypso, power that was used to feed electrical motors, to heat up the compartments, to make all the sophisticated equipment work. Now it stands as a relic from a faraway past. No more hum, no more working gauges, just another dark place in the ship. The engine compartment, once the place where the heart of Calypso was beating 24 hours a day. Now a strange silence hangs over the 2500 horsepower diesels. The compressor that once was used to fill the diving bottles with compressed air. It's rusty, numb. Air vents now hanging loose from the ceiling. Propeller shafts that no longer revolve. At the very end of the ship, the cargo bay that once was nesting the diving saucer. It's empty. I feel very depressed. I have to urge myself back outside Calypso. I can no longer bear to see this marvelous ship going to waste. It was the intention to save and restore the Calypso. Sadly, instead Calypso is rusting away, slowly dying, becoming a mere shadow of her former self. If nothing happens soon, she will be heading for an infamous end. It saddens the heart to see such a symbol rotting away. Still, there are efforts to raise funds to restore Calypso to her former glory. Calypso, the ship with a soul, now needs the heart of a loving person to save her from oblivion. Alexandra, granddaughter of Commander Cousteau and daughter of Philippe Cousteau, co-founder of the Philippe Cousteau Society. The girl with a heart affirms trying to raise the necessary funds and to do whatever is in her power to restore and save Calypso. One of the legendary boats of the previous millennium, remembered with resounding names as Thor Heyerdahl's Kon-Tiki, James Cook's Endeavour, Charles Darwin's Beagle, and Rainbow Warrior belonging to Greenpeace, the Calypso will always be remembered together with her visionary Captain Commander Jacques Cousteau. Jacques Cousteau died June 25, 1997, at the age of 87. He had preferred a seaman's grave, just like his first wife Simone and his son Philippe. Instead, he was given a memorial service at the Notre Dame in Paris, attended by the French president and many personalities. He was laid to rest in the Cousteau family plot at Saint-Andre-de-Cubzac near Bordeaux in France, the small town where he was born. There, in a rural and quiet graveyard, only a stone throw away from where Calypso lies now, this giant rests in a simple grave. Cousteau has left his mark on generations by becoming an environmentalist even before the word was known. He has opened the wonderful undersea world to the eyes of mankind by producing more than 115 films, including 3 full-length feature films, The Silent World, World Without Sun, and Voyage to the Edge of the World, mostly narrated in English by the man himself with his typical Gallic-sounding voice. He also authored many books. He was honored by several honorary degrees at universities in Europe and the USA, and elevated as a member of the Académie Française in Paris. He has won no less than 40 Emmy nominations. On the backside, at the bottom of a stone cross, one sees a few simple memorabilia laid there by nameless visitors. A tropical angelfish, Pomacanthus imperator. A rose, a statuette of the Virgin Mary, a cobblestone from a faraway beach, and a shelly necklace from the Martinique laid there by his lifelong friend Albert Falco. But even to the greatest lives there comes an end. Commander Cousteau, the legend with a trademark scarlet woolen cap, has now forever rejoined his silent world.